All right, man. Dude, this is good stuff. So again, we're discussing whether to cut a POV from an awesome character that dies. And it's such a good death scene. And you're in his head and it's just so thoughtful and deep and just impactful. And a couple of my beta readers might have teared up a little bit. Maybe I teared up a little bit too. But here's the hard thing, man. You get too long with your word count and you're in trouble. And you got to kill some of your darlings, right? And that's what this means, is you got to figure out what's got to go, what serves the story and what doesn't. And so honestly, this is a little bit of a different advice than we typically hear. I feel like if I pitch this to just like a broader writing community with just the information we've given, they're going to say, bro, cut him. They're going to say, cut him. If you're questioning, you got to cut him. If he's just a darling, it's not a good enough reason. But I think you have to keep track of your emotional peaks and your emotional valleys in your story, as well as your plot points, right? And I'm just going to tell you, when I started on rewrites on this novel, I did about 4 false starts on this thing, and they were getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. And the last one was so dang clean that I hated it. It was just following all the rules and taking no risk. And I looked at it and I was like, this is not my story anymore. And so, of course, I sound like the typical writer, creator guy, but like there is a danger to losing your voice and losing like what makes you passionate about a story and losing what's special about a story in trying to get that inciting incident on page 1, and in trying to tick all these marks and be so specific so that you just produce this carbon copy of this thing that has a better chance of selling, right? And so you have to be true to the story and make it the best story it can be. And you got to make sacrifices to do it, but you also got to recognize what's kind of magic, So I love this advice that, of course, we're breaking a lot of rules, right? If you're only in his head for 2 or 3 scenes now instead of 5 or 6, is that enough room to establish the character? When I'm reading it, I think it is, dude. I think it is. Like, I think you know him. He's not the deepest character in the world. Everyone doesn't have to be. And then his interiority also does serve the plot, because I need a perspective there at the battlefield on that day when everything goes wrong, right? And he's the only one there. And so at that point, and then he's a fresh POV to read. So that's kind of cool. I think it breaks some rules, but I think it works. And the final thing I'll say is this. I love your advice that, bro, you can cut it later if you decide. So I'm going to try it.